So the story is DOGE has $312 million in COVID loans. And just so everyone knows, COVID loans were never paid back. I don't think anybody, they didn't have to, you didn't have to pay back COVID loans. And, like NBA teams were caught taking COVID loans for millions of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So DOGE says $312 million in loans were given to children during the lockdowns. Like little kids just applied for it and got free money from the government. There was no oversight at all. The DOGE announced that a further wave of contract terminations late Saturday, noting that they also identified thousands of cases where more than $300 million in loans were granted to children. DOGE said it identified that the SBA granted nearly 5,600 loans for $312 million to borrowers who were 11 years old or younger at the time of the loans.
I love this because we're always complaining that American children are not ambitious enough. They're not. They're just lost. And all of these small business owning 11-year-olds got
I know.
loans. I mean, I think this is great. No, I'm just kidding.
Obviously, it was it was parents probably doing it.
Which, like, identity fraud? Question mark.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, everyone who's involved. This is one of the biggest problems I've had with DOGE, and I know it's early, so I'm willing to give it more time. But like, you know who got the money? These people should be charged, and they should go and they should get prison time, and at minimum they should have to pay back every penny that they got
for fraud. Is that the charge you bring them up on?
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously it wasn't. And first of all, whoever was approving these loans, like, did they actually say that they were 11 on the form, or did they lie and were they really 11? This is a question I think worth asking. Like, this is, the people who are involved in this, I don't want to just hear about it. I want consequences. And I think most Americans agree. Like, do you think that there's any chance 5,600 here it said, well, it's possible to have business arrangements where this is legal, but it's highly unlikely for 5,593 loans, as they also use social security numbers with the incorrect name, the agency wrote. DOGE and the SBA are working to solve the problem. What does that mean? What is I want these people to go to jail. Like, I don't understand how this
I'd like more
solving
explanation on this, because I was wondering if it is like the loans are linked to a social security number. Let's say one of these loans went to a child YouTube toy unboxer whose parents have started some type of business structure, and they have a graphic designer and they do whatever, and they take out loans, and so technically the child is the head of the company, but it's obviously under the management and purview of the family. I'll give you like 2 or 3 of those. I mean, even the small business.
Okay, how about 100?
I'll give you. Okay, I mean, I wouldn't go with 100, but like, let's say 100 of them were like that. The Small Business Administration is acknowledging that over 5,000 of them were fraudulent. Which, again, there's all kinds of stuff right now about like protecting the financial status of children, like child influencers or involved in vlogs or whatever. So like, you could come at this from a child advocacy standpoint and say, like, if you are filing for loans under your child's name, COVID or not, whether you had to pay them back or not, like, you could potentially be setting them up for huge financial disaster when they turn 18 and have to take responsibility for all of this.
Yeah.
Additionally, if you are just scamming the government out of millions of dollars using your kid's name, that is not okay either. I mean, there's a lot of angles from which you could say this is a high priority and we should have some kind of standard from which everyone is explaining it. I do feel like I would like to know more about how this was determined, but I also find it difficult to see, like, okay, so of these, let's say 5,000 people who could be potentially charged with fraud, does DOGE build the case, or is this something we now hand over to the DOJ?
Yeah, I mean,
like, it's so easy for it to just be forgotten. I mean, there's a reason that no one had to pay back any COVID loans.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like, look, I had an unpopular opinion about PPP loans, because, the government was giving it out anyway to everybody, and it was your money anyway. So I never held it against anyone who took PPP loans. Now, I did I did think that it was kind of scummy for people who are like already multimillionaires taking out huge interest-free loans with no intention of paying it back.
Right.
Like if you run a business, like if you're Tim Pool and you took out a PPP loan, I'm 1,000% fine with that. Like we all pay 50% tax. We're not independently wealthy. We're not the Lakers, stuff like that. But so many people were abusing it. Like, weren't they, like, people were buying cars and, there was so much. I'm going to I'll tell you how it was. I took a PPP loan. It was like $11,000 because I had 5 employees at the time and I didn't know what was going to go on.
Yeah.
The process to get that loan forgiven was I clicked 2 boxes and my loan disappeared.
That's crazy.
They never asked me a single question on how I used the money. Now, I did use the money to pay my employees, but like,
good.
They never asked me. They never said, "Can you prove that you paid your employees?" They never said, "Did the money go into your business account? Can you show that you've had any kind of financial hardship?" They never said anything. I just said, "Click, click. Your loan is forgiven." Disappeared out of my bank. It was gone.
That's crazy.
That was it. And like, I didn't even get that much money. Imagine the people who were getting $200,000 and going click, click, and the loan disappeared.
Right.
Like, it was so wild that like, I remember I had friends who had businesses and they were like taking a moral stand against taking PPP loans. I'm like, dude, every fucking salon in the ghetto is taking these loans. Like, you should take one. Like, like there's, I
was fine if you didn't want to take them. I also, similar to you, was like, well, if it's actually your money anyways that the government's giving back to you, like,
right,
there's a small chance of like, that's how I feel about all like, I know people
I pay 50% tax. I didn't feel bad about it at all.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I know people who like don't want to take unemployment if they get laid off because
that's stupid. You pay unemployment tax.
You pay unemployment tax. So you're kind of in this weird, like, your morals may be against it, but also like you are still having to participate. Like it's a difficult situation to be in. With all of the COVID funding, Bob, I mean, I gonna sound like such a broken record to people who have heard me on any podcast at all times ever, but I think it's so crazy that you could click 2 buttons and get your COVID loan forgiven. I think it's so crazy that Biden could wave his magic wand and announce he was going to forgive student loans, even though actually he didn't have the legal authority to. And so many people banked on him forgiving their student loans under this false hope that he gave everybody. But our government still continues to issue student loans that you cannot declare bankruptcy on. This,
right.
I am not an accountant. I am not a financial guru, but this pick and choose what money is real and what money is fake and what can be forgiven and what you can be held accountable for is bananas to me. I mean, everyone who's filing taxes right now, right? Like they must just be looking at it like, there was one time when I filed taxes and I owed the state that I lived in $1. And I remember like, this is so ridiculous.
Yeah.
At the same time, if I didn't pay that $1, like I would face
they could put you in prison.
Right. But the government can't decide if they should or shouldn't forgive loans or if they have the authority to, or if they can offer them or where the money comes from, or if they should balance a budget. Like they can come after me for any sort of financial misstep, but in terms of their own financial blundering that the American people pay for, no, we can't question it and we don't know. I mean, I think that's why when entrenched bureaucrats get so upset about DOGE, I kind of laugh because it's like, but can you explain why 5,000 11-year-olds got small business loans?
Yeah.
If
and
you can't do that, then I shouldn't have to pay you money.
Just do the math. What is that? Isn't that about 60,000 a person? It was 300 million, right? And it was
12 million,
5,600. Let's just do that. Yeah, it's an average of $53,000 per person.
These crazy 11-year-olds, they've got all these employees. That's smaller than yours. Like,
I had 6 employees and I only got 11,000.
You're not running the empire these children are.
Yeah. And then they had like, and then on top of it, this is just like the Social Security thing. There's like 300-year-olds getting Social Security and Democrats are like, this is crazy. Why are we stopping this? Like, what?
My 300-year-old relative definitely needs this money. I swear they're real.
Yeah. How are you on the other side of that? Like, it's so weird. But nonetheless, Doge is doing the Lord's work. I just want to see.
I disagree. I think Doge is stopping our entrepreneurial 11-year-olds
right.
from running their businesses. And if
somebody
you really
stop
believe,
Doge.
I'm just kidding. I'm gonna say that someone's gonna get really, really mad about it.
Yeah, well, it just is. I don't know. It's bonkers.